Welcome to Personal Mastery Training. I'm your host, Alvin Brown, former world-class athlete turned entrepreneur and consultant. Join us as we learn from guests who have conquered their inner battles and share their journeys to success. Get ready for inspirational masterclasses and thought-provoking strategy sessions to fuel your path to personal mastery. Let's dive in. Everybody, what's going on? All right, so let's call this episode Be the Thermostat and not the Thermometer. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you a little story about the building that I work from, my office, bricks and mortar. It's in a building, and the thermostat is held, the ultimate control of it. We have some control, but the ultimate control of the thermostat in my room, in my unit, is controlled by the building manager. So sometimes my room, it has a window, and that points to the south. So when the sun comes up, that room and all the rooms on that side can be like a solarium. It holds the heat in and it really heats up that room. Then you have the heater itself blowing in. So sometimes that room can get so hot, it's stifling. Everybody has to come out and start checking the heat, leave their door open. Sometimes my clients get a little uncomfortable. Sometimes they mention it. And even though I'm working on them and they like the warmth, but it gets hot and steamy. And summer times it can be brutal in there. So here's what I'm saying with that. Here's where I'm going with it. The building manager ultimately controls how we feel, controls how our comfort level, controls our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions in that room, because he has the ultimate control over the thermostat. So here's how this plays out. When I saw this quote and heard it, I said, I got to share it in my group. As usual, I'm bringing everything back to you. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Think about that. Anything you do in your life, if you're a speaker, if you're a business person, if you are a teacher, if you are influencing someone, your kids, doesn't even matter if you're quote unquote influencing the world. No, you're influencing someone around you, your coworkers, your kids, someone around you is being influenced. You have to think about this and utilize this wisdom that was left behind. Be the one that sets the temperature of the room. When I realize that I'm sweating buckets in my room, and the only way I ultimately can control it is going to calling the manager and say, hey, can you turn this heat down in here? Because he has that control. Now, think about this. If you're a speaker, if you are an entrepreneur and you're leading people, if you're a parent, it was Gandhi, I think, who said, be the change you want to see in the world. That is the same metaphor. That is the same wisdom. Be the thermostat that sets the tone for for anybody you influence. And sometimes you have to, let's flip it then. Let's flip it and think about this for a second. Are you, like me, at the mercy of someone else setting the tone for your life, setting the comfort level, setting your mood, setting your emotions, and everyone else around you? And who's doing that? And what are they doing to you? Do they have the control of the thermostat? And you are the thermometer, feeling everything they decide to do that day, feeling everything they decide to turn it up, turn it down. Are you that person who is driven by external validation? Are you that person who needs someone to say, you're done good? I am looking for someone to approve me. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to advise you to become the thermostat in your life. How can you become that person? And here's the other beauty of the thermostat analogy. A thermostat, say you set it at 72, and that's the perfect level you want your home. When the door opens, what does the thermostat do? And it's cold outside, for instance, the door opens and it's cold outside. It's cold outside. What does it do? It raises the heat because the temperature starts to drop because you open the door. It starts to kick in and raise the heat. What if it's too hot? Well, it turns the air on and it brings it back down to 72. You see what I'm saying? So when you think of yourself as being the thermostat, setting the tone for whatever you're doing, especially again, if you're a speaker, especially if you're a teacher, especially if you are influencing someone, and all of us are at some point, maybe whether on a big scale, a small scale, whatever it might be, you become the thermostat. So the question is then, what do you have to do to become the thermostat in your life? And actually, I want to step that back. I'm going to step that back. I'm going to ask you, are you the thermometer? Have you let your life go so far? Have you went to sleep on your life that you realize that you feel as if you don't have any control? You are the thermostat. You are the one being affected. You are the one that feels like you have no power, no control. Are you that person? Give that some thought. What part of your life, relationship, business, finance, wherever you might be, that you feel as if you are the thermometer, being affected by the ups and downs of the thermostat, the one who's setting the thermostat? And then the next question is, what can you do? What are things you need to do? Give this some journaling and some thought. What are things you need to do to raise that temperature? And to what degree are you going to raise that temperature to become the thermostat? Where do you need to be empowered? Where do you need to take control? What do you need to do? What resources, what classes, what courses, what thing do you need to learn? Who do you need to hire? Something you need to do to become the one who sets the tone. I want you to think about that and start to take action. Stop being the one who rises and falls based on the one who's setting the temperature. I think it's powerful. When I heard that, I thought, yes, yes. When I got to speak, one of the things, so I'm going to share this with you. One of the blessings I had, a friend of mine, he gave me this blessing of an opportunity. He worked for Tony Robbins. He did some security for Tony Robbins. DK, shout out to you. He did some security for Tony, and they were coming to Toronto and they were missing a security. He asked me to do it. And it was such a blessing because I've been listening to Tony for such a long time. To really put the face, touch him, to see him, it was amazing. But here's what I realized. We were backstage and getting ready to go on, and Bob Proctor was before him. God bless. Rest in peace, Bob. So Bob Proctor was before Tony. And Tony played squash before we met him. And, I was really surprised when I saw Tony. I thought, wow, that's not what I thought. I thought I would have saw this big figure, but he was baseball hat, played squash. Didn't look like Tony. What I expected. Obviously, he's a 6 and change and 6'7", whatever he is. Can't miss him, but he didn't look like what I thought. So we went back to his hotel. He went in his room. The security stayed outside. The detail stayed outside. And he went in. And he did a whole process where he put himself in a state. And all of a sudden, he came out as Tony. And that's when I realized what he was doing. He was becoming the thermometer. He was becoming the thermostat. My bad. He was becoming the thermostat. He put himself in a state where he became the thermostat and set the room for everybody there. And he lit that place on fire. That's when I realized how important it is, no matter what you do, to put yourself in a state where you become. Don't wait for the audience to warm you up. No, you warm them up. You heat them up. You put them on fire. He became this thermostat, and the audience became the thermometer, and they raised their level to his game. So, once again, where in your life can you become the thermostat instead of the thermometer? Give that some thought, journal on it, and let me know. All right? I'm out. Peace.